Kind of Funny Live 2 is happening May 28th and 29th. It's a 2-day event. The first day is going to be a completely ridiculous stage show. What we have planned this year completely blows last year out of the water. And I don't even know how that's possible because we were really stupid last year, and this year's somehow even stupider. Day 2, it's going to be full day of meet and greets. We're hanging out with all of us. A bunch of Rooster Teeth people are there. Funhouse people are there. Achievement Hunter. It's going to be a grand old time. There's going to be some games to play. There's going to be signings. It's exciting. It's a really fun time. There's going to be exclusive merch. Oh yeah, there's definitely going to be exclusive merch. Go to kindoffunny.com/tickets to get your tickets today. There's a couple VIP tickets still available, so make sure if you want one of those, you act fast.
Colin, it's your topic, but first, thank you to everybody who supported us in April. All you big, beautiful kids over on patreon.com/kindafunny. As always, your name is now put on the screen. You get to enjoy it and see your name. Oh, there you go. There you were. Thank you for everything.
Is it still going? I can't see from this angle.
It's still going. Okay. Yeah, you only get to see, you just see a line.
I just see a little line.
Yeah.
and a slightly bigger Peruvian boy.
Well, okay. So I want to talk, we've talked about this topic in the past, but now I want to do a gut check moment with everyone.
Okay.
Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee for president. Now, we talked about this a long time ago, and we were like, I think basically the walkaway was probably this won't happen, that conventional wisdom was wrong with him, right? And now he's going to be the guy. Everyone else dropped out. It's him. It's going to be him. I want to share a few statistics with you about this, and then see where you guys all stand on if you think this is going to happen, because the reason I wanted to bring this up, and I thought this was a thoughtful topic and a topic we can all talk about, is that usually when we talk about politics, it's a lot of me and you guys kind of responding, but political conventional wisdom doesn't work anymore. Now, like, it's all bets are off. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone was wrong. Everyone that knows anything was wrong. Everyone. No one predicted that this was going to happen. Right. Of any consequence.
It's hilarious watching all of the media kind of eat crow right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, I
shout out to the people that don't know anything, though. They're, like, feeling pretty smug right now. So, good
we
for
knew
them.
it. We liked him. Apprentice.
Yeah.
Okay.
He speaks his mind.
So there's this notion, my thesis is this. Polling shows Trump behind by double digits to Hillary Clinton in a head-to-head matchup, right? And so like, but polling, the head-to-head polling this early is useless. Until the conventions, it really doesn't matter. But people still look at those as predictive. So what it predicts is that Trump will lose almost as bad as Goldwater lost to LBJ in 1968, which was terrible. He got fucking killed, right? And a lot of people predict that like this is not going to be a race at all, that Trump is going to lose. He's going to lose red states. He might win a few. He might pick off Texas and a few other states, but he's going to lose like he might lose Georgia. He might lose North Carolina, like states that do not typically vote Democrat.
Right.
But then there are statistics that suggest that there's way more to this than meets the eye, and I wanted to share something with you.
Lay it on me with your amazing gold handwriting.
So 44 states have voted. There's still 6 of them left. Trump had won 28 of them. Trump so far has won 40% of the vote in a field of 16 people. 10.7 million votes cast, which will end up, when everyone votes, be the most votes for a Republican nominee ever. For context, Romney got 10.4 million votes when he won the nomination and only lost to Obama by 4 points. And McCain got 10.6 million votes in 2008 and lost more like by 6.5 points. W holds the record at 10.8 million votes in the primary in 2000. So with California still to vote, and California has the most Republican voters of any state, believe it or not, because there's so many people here, Trump is probably going to reach more like 12.5 million votes, which makes him the most popular amongst Republicans nominee of all time, right? So there's that one statistic. And then I was reading, Washington Post has been publishing a lot of interesting things about Donald Trump that I thought were interesting. And there's a lot of think pieces about why he's going to get killed, but there are think pieces about why he might not get killed. And there, someone came across this. It was on Morning Joe, and I. So here's a little piece of what I think is fact for you guys. Let me know what you think of this. And this is by, I think Chris Zilla wrote this, right? Yes, Chris Zilla. It says, the prevailing wisdom in political circles following Donald Trump's emergence as the presumptive Republican presidential nominee is that he has very little chance of beating Hillary Clinton in the fall election. That she and her team of experienced operatives will carve Trump up like a Thanksgiving turkey, using his many controversial remarks to build a case that he is fundamentally unfit for the office he is seeking, that her political experience will turn him into a blubbering fool both on the campaign trail and the debate stage. Might happen, could happen. But Clinton would do well to study the 16 Republican candidates who held that same belief and watched as Trump systematically destroyed them on his march to the nomination. If we learned anything about Trump during this campaign, it's this. He's very, very difficult to run against. So there's that one, I think, truth about it. That all the conventional wisdom was wrong about the Republicans, and he destroyed those people. It wasn't like he beat Bush and then Bush is going to like, kind of come up and support him. Like he embarrassed Jeb Bush. He embarrassed Ted Cruz. He embarrassed Marco Rubio. He embarrassed all of them.
Yeah.
All these people with money.
Talking on a level where they might not run ever again.
Right. Like some people like Rubio are finished.
Yeah.
And then there was this more interesting piece that came out, I think just today. And it says Democrats don't celebrate Trump's nomination, fear it. And this is this is by Fred Hyatt. And here he gets into statistics that I think you guys will be very interested in. And then I'm going to throw it to you guys to see what you think. It says, I know the polls say Donald Trump cannot win, but what if we were looking at the wrong poll question? What if Trump's overwhelming negatives don't matter? Or to put it another way, what if the country's negatives matter more? Right now, about 6 in 10 Americans have an unfavorable view of Trump, and only 36% of them view him positively. But the country is faring even worse. In the most recent average of polls calculated by Real Clear Politics, 26.9% of Americans think the nation is headed in the right direction, and 64.9% think we're headed down the wrong track. So what if even voters who respect Hillary Clinton's competence reject her as the embodiment of business as usual? And what if even voters who do not like Trump's bigotry or bluster care more that he will, in their view, shake things up? So there's that little piece as well.
Right.
So how you guys' guts feel right now?
I mean, I think he's going to win.
You do?
I think he's going to win the whole thing.
Oh, wow. By a landslide?
I don't know if it's going to be a landslide. I don't know enough about the actual politics behind it to think on those terms. But I think that if he's shown you anything, is that people don't want status quo. They don't want the traditional politic. They don't want Hillary Clinton, even if she starts spouting out facts. I don't think they're going to believe her or actually take her seriously, because I feel like Trump just comes off as truthful. He comes off as one of us sitting here saying absurd shit that actually comes off as not status quo, and I think that's very, very powerful. This is the first real time in my life that I can remember thinking this guy is really actually shaking things up. And you hear all these political platforms, people are like, we're gonna make America great again, we're gonna shake things up, we're gonna go to Washington and do all those things. I don't think he'll be able to accomplish anything once he gets in, but he's got such a fervent following based on the fact that he is the guy that is real, that I think he could take it all the way. That's my opinion of it. I don't want him to. I'm terrified of it. But we don't have a third alternative choice. That's even better.
Get off the bench, Mitt Romney, if you haven't already by the time this post. No, that's the whole thing that's weird about it. Is I think the one thing we're talking about echo chambers. Last GameOverGreggy show 2 weeks ago, right? I think in the political echo chamber, the one thing that's being missed when they talk about this and that Trump has a chance and all this stuff is I really feel the Hillary Clinton campaign posters should be her in the Uncle Sam pose saying, I want you. I need you. Because that's how I feel. When I get to the ballot box, it totally is. I'm like, neither of you inspire confidence, but I can't vote for Trump. I can't. The things he said on this, what he's done, the way he talks, like it's funny and it's entertaining. And this is very much the opposite of, you remember that, Beyond 300 or 200, where like the question was like, do you think Romney's going to win, or will Obama get reelected? You're like, ha, not a chance. And I was like, I will bet you any day of the week he was. Of course he is. I can see the reality where Trump gets elected, but I feel like I don't. This one's like one of those, they shake the 8 ball and you look at it, it's like too cloudy, can't tell. Could go either way, but I really do feel there's going to be enough people that it's like, all right, it's voting day. And it's like, all right, get up off the bench. And it's like, yeah, the status quo is not great. I agree that I've said forever, I hate these career politicians. I wish people would come in and blah, 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 blah. I just wish there was somebody like, I guess I wish that Bernie had gotten, Bernie would be the super interesting nominee, right? Of like, I say whatever the fuck I want to, but I'm not saying these things that are offending all these minorities and doing all this different stuff and making everybody from the outside of the country look in and go, are they fucking crazy? Like that would be the one I would love to see. Because I honestly think he has a better chance, and I know you totally disagree, and every political pundit does too. I think Bernie would have a better chance of beating Trump, just because I think it would be that whole thing of like, oh, cool, no matter what, we're coming out of this different. And it's like, do you believe him or do you believe him?
To jump in real quick, just to be clear, he does poll better against Trump. But I still say the reason Sanders is doing so well is because the Republicans just ignore him.
Sure.
He will be very easy to kill.
Socialism and all that stuff. I understand.
And like they have not even focused any energy on
Totally
him.
Get that. Totally
so that
get
I
that.
want to draw them.
I just feel like that would be a one where I would vote for Bernie and believe in it. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, I don't necessarily agree with how we're going to pay for all the shit you're saying, but it's better than the shit he's saying. Yeah. Whereas like, I'm like, we were so close, it seems, on this one. Trump speaks his mind, but he just says horrible thing. Like, I just can't. Like how, like when he, like the taco salad photo on Twitter. Not even deconstructing any of that stuff, but just imagining him in the Oval Office behind the desk. It's just like,
It's a popularity
I can't
contest.
do
That's
that.
all that it is.
I mean, like this is. I mean, like I think it's gonna. I think that there's gonna be plenty of people who troops get rallied. We're getting really close to Judgment Day here, guys. You got to get up. You got to vote for Hillary or the third party. Like what's really gonna be fascinating is the Republicans. How many Republicans stay behind him and don't go, okay, well, I can't do this. But then do they go to Hillary? Or they just go independent third party and see what the hell that does. But to what you're saying is, yeah, it is a popularity contest. I do feel like this. Honestly, I could see Trump winning this, and then next time around, I think you could easily see another Ronald Reagan type. I am a movie star. I'm George Clooney. I'm a movie star. I'm totally liberal and Democrat, and this was a fucked up 4 years. What the hell were we thinking? And it just totally moves in that idiocracy way of it is all of a sudden like its personality and like think about the first time somebody who's like, this is stretching it, but stick with me because maybe who the fuck knows anymore. Think about the next when it gets to the point where all of the YouTubers that have started YouTube, Phil DeFranco, and I just seen all these when they hit 35 and their audience hits voting age, and they're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna run. Like, what would that be like right now if Phil DeFranco was old enough or I Justine was old enough, and they were like, and the majority of their viewing population who had grown up with them was old enough, and they were like, fucking Trump's running. Let's try this. You know what I mean? We'll go third party and da. It's like
numbers of power, man. I think we're in a very interesting time. I've never understood politics and it's never been my thing. But the funny thing is, it seems like all the people that do understand it have been wrong totally time after time after time with this whole thing. And with the whole Bernie stuff, we watched that Bernie math video on College Humor. Until he's out, he's not out. I don't understand. Everyone's saying it's impossible for him to win. All right, well, he's still here. Like I am not. If you had to ask me who I think's going to win, I'm not going to say he's not going to.
Yeah.
Like, I would not put money on that.
That's what's so fascinating though. Too.
Exactly. This whole thing's fascinating. And it's like these articles confuse me because like to me they seem so backwards. Where it's like I feel just the opposite way. Where it's like I feel like Trump is so obviously has such control over this whole thing, and he has for so long, which has been kind of like rolling down the mountain, just gaining traction. And it's like you don't. After all of that, you don't have less power. You just have more say over everything. So now him being the only guy on that side, it's like, well, okay, cool. That's kind of totally locked in. Dealing with this other side, it's like, we'll see how that all shakes out. But like the whole internet thing, like it's hard to judge because the polling numbers are what matters. But like with the voice of the internet and the circles you run in, the shit that I read and the shit that I come across based on the various sites I go to, as biased as they are, it tells a very, very direct story. And that's everyone thinks Donald's crazy, but every other article is about him, which just hearing his name is power.
He's Kanye West.
Everyone fucking hates, he's Kanye West. Everyone fucking hates Hillary, but she's there and everyone fucking loves Bernie. So it's like what that actually creates is going to be interesting because I think that this is one of the first voting times that the internet generation has. There's been a couple, I think last was a good example of the beginning of it, but now the internet's a fucking thing. Everybody has all these social media networks. It's part of your ingrained life. And I think that, you could probably answer my question here, but are more people voting now than ever before? Because I would assume so.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is I think Democratic turnout is lower with Sanders and Hillary than it was with Hillary and Obama, which says something about Sanders and Hillary, and higher than it had ever been with Trump on the Republican side,
and
which says something about Republicans.
I think that narrative is going to get told. And I think that's going to be the thing of like, fucking, we got to go vote. Get up. We got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think there is that discrepancy. And we've talked about this before with just conservative in general, right? Where it's like, if you're young, you're liberal. And so if you're older, you tend to swing more conservative based on your responsibilities, taxes, so on and so forth. And so I think it would be one of those things of like, you can get a groundswell campaign pretty quick if Hillary was smart and went to the YouTubers and was like, we need to get in front of your audience and be like, are you 18? You got to go vote because this guy's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that happened in the last time with Obama in that Obama had the voice of entertainment behind him. Like all the entertainment, whether it was movie or music, was about change and about Obama. And I think that probably says a lot there where they're not necessarily doing that the same way with Bernie. It is just a bunch of message boards and the internet.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's why, I use the word optics a lot, and it's because of my love of politics, because you won't hear a word more than that word when you read about politics. Bernie, it looks like everyone loves Bernie, but 3.5 million more people voted for Hillary Clinton than Bernie in this cycle, right? So it's like, all right, so there's something lost, there's some connection lost there. Like it says, it's just that Bernie supporters I always compare them to Ron Paul supporters, which I was one, except that there's just way more of them, where it's like no negative things can be said about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has the answer to everything. Bernie Sanders can't lose until he loses. Bernie, like et cetera, so on. I know because I know what that looks like because I was there. I remember it. And so I think the reason Trump is resonating, there was a really interesting video. I wish I knew what it was. I saw it on Facebook where it was like these guys dressed up in, and they were Bernie Sanders supporters, I think, ultimately, and they kind of like skewed their video a little bit towards the end, but they were dressed in like Muslims for Trump shirts or something like that. And they went to these rallies and they were videotaping because they expected a certain outcome that I don't think they got. And what they ended up finding out was, I think, and the guy was saying, is like, these are kind of just normal people. Like, and they just want change, and they're just a lot of working class, blue collar people, some white collar people that just want change and just see this man and they believe in him, and they're not racist and they're not bigots and they're not doing anything wrong, you know? And like, I do think that the biggest weapon Trump has is every time someone calls him that or calls his supporters that, more people will vote for him than not. Mm-hmm. And I think, because I don't think people like being called that. We saw that in 2010 in the midterms with the Tea Party, which took over the House and almost took over the Senate and had some crazy candidates, so they didn't take over the Senate, where it can go too far to the right or too far to the left, like it did with Occupy Wall Street, for instance. But really, we're all kind of in the middle. We all kind of family-oriented, want jobs, want a strong economy, want safety and security and all that kind of stuff. And so the othering of each other's kind of groups of supporters is only going to backfire, and that only supports Donald Trump. And so I think that is that's something that people really need to take into account when there are basically riots, and like it's very much like 1968. And people can go read about 1968, about the riots and all, like a lot of fucked up things happening that year because of Vietnam and all this kind of stuff across the country. And that really called for strong leadership, right? And so, but by the way, I said Goldwater before in 68. Goldwater ran in 64. In 68, Nixon and LBJ ran, and Nixon, or it wasn't Nixon and LBJ, it was Nixon and Hubert Humphrey, I think. And Nixon won that race because people were looking for like someone strong, and someone that's like, no, this isn't okay. Like, we don't riot. We let other people speak. We don't interrupt and all those kinds of things. And people wanted someone with order. And so I keep saying that if people want to beat Trump, the best route to do that is to just, you can do all you want, but just go vote. Because the more you yell and scream, I think it's going to backfire. And I think you're going to find out that most people that doesn't resonate with most people. And they're going to be wondering why you're yelling and screaming, why you want to interrupt his rallies, why you don't let him speak. They're just going to become more and more curious about him.
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that's what we've seen since the beginning. It's like, even if you're not yelling and screaming at the what in front of him physically, like just any post you've ever made insulting Donald Trump on Twitter is building that. Every single one. People want to know why he's bad. Every click you give him because you want to see him saying something insulting or stupid. It's like that builds all that shit.
But it's the hip hop artist mentality, right? Like, I have an album dropping, I'm going to say something ridiculous right now to make headlines. Then, oh, by the way, go buy this album, right? It's classic manipulation of the media, and Trump has it down. Ultimately, though I think he is probably the worst of all of our choices, I think he's still really good for politics. Not in the short term, but I think in the long term. I think this is a historic election. I think this will prove that, if anything, we just don't want the same insidious lies and bullshit that I have seen ever since I was born. We don't want these fucking fake puppets doing the fake speak where they can't point, because they're too afraid to, like, if this is aggressive, this is not aggressive, like, we don't need that anymore. Yeah. We're so, as a society, aware because of things like social media that we don't need to be dumbed down and talked down to like all these politicians feel the need to. And that's what Trump is great at. He is terrible at delivering messages. He is fantastic at showing how fake everyone else is. And that's really all his power is, which when he goes up against Hillary, that's why I fear for Hillary, is because he's going to just shoot holes through everything she does, metaphorically speaking, of course. He's going to show her as being the complete and total bullshit artist that she is, and she has been ever since she's got into the Senate.
I'm sorry. Go no, please.
Well, that's what's exciting about this from my perspective, as somebody who's so jaded about politics, and it has been forever, and was like, oh, Obama, he's saying the right things, and you vote, and it's just another guy, just another dude.
That's it.
It's like, it literally, I do feel like politics after this election will never be the same. Is that you will, let's say Trump wins, and even if he doesn't, your next go round, I think even, I'm talking about like even mayor stuff, Senate seats, all this different stuff, is going to be people who are, I'm going to shoot straight with you. And I can be the Donald Trump that's a reasonable person and not say this kind of stuff and but dialing it back from where you don't have to have an answer for everything, because Trump doesn't, right? And that's human and totally like, authentic. Who's going to be on in your cabinet? I don't know, a bunch of fucking awesome people. What do you think about foreign policy? I don't know much about it. I'm going to get great people to come in and give me great advice like I have with a million business of them.
Yeah.
Like, and that I can get behind, but then he says bad things about people.
Well, yeah, he needs, I really wish he'd toned down a lot of the terrible rhetoric, but I honestly believe, would be one of the only people who, if elected, could actually get things done. I don't know to what end or to what, to what eventual goals he would be getting those things done against. I mean, he talks about building a wall. I have to imagine if he could actually do that, he would capitalize off of it wholeheartedly by having one of his companies probably build it. But I think he could actually get things done. Whereas I think you elect Hillary. I think it's the same thing we've had for the last 8 years.
It's another 4 years.
It's another
for sure.
Obama.
Yeah, I think this can go multiple ways. I first of all, I want to say it's more likely than not Trump loses, but I wouldn't say any more than that. There were some people on the Sunday shows that were saying like it might even be 50-50. And I like really when it comes down to it. And what a lot of that says, I think, is that, and a lot of people on both sides are like, God damn it, because this would have been such a slam dunk for the Republicans if they just nominated someone like Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. And this would have been such a slam dunk for the Democrats if they nominated someone that anyone liked. So not a socialist and not Clinton, but like just like Martin O'Malley, even if he was like more popular and like it would have been so easy to put someone normal against him. It just so happens that both of them suck. So now no one. So now
I
no
don't know,
one.
man. I think
It's like a really
so
bad
funny, like,
Super Bowl.
I think that these are the most perfect possible candidates that there is for it, because it's like from a wide perspective, people that don't engage with this stuff on the day to day. Clinton, a name that you know that represents what you know. It's just, all right, cool. I can totally wrap my head around what that means. And then somebody that is super gung ho, super left, like the super example of that. And I don't know who else could be there that we can wrap our head around unless it was a celebrity, unless it was the good Donald Trump. Like if it was just another random politician, I don't think that they would win out over either of those two ideas.
Oh, I don't know if I agree, just in the sense that once people start to engage, people are engaged way more now, earlier general public, than they would usually be in the primary. People don't usually pay attention to the conventions.
But it's because of Donald Trump.
Exactly. And so it could be for good or bad. He's way underwater in his negatives, and that's a bad thing. The point I'm making is, so is Hillary Clinton. People don't like her either. People don't, like, I think the word in some Gallup poll or something was like, what's the word you associate most with Hillary Clinton? It's like untrustworthy. Yeah. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like Trump would get, for Christ's sake. There's plenty of people on the Democratic side that would beat Trump, but she might not be one of them. And that's one of the funny things about this. And so I see it going certain ways. There's an electoral map reality, right? Clinton has the electoral map reality. It doesn't matter who wins the popular vote. It matters who wins the electoral votes. And the only way Trump can win is if he starts picking off states Romney lost. And to that end, he needs to win Pennsylvania. He needs to win Ohio. He needs to win Wisconsin. He needs to win like all these states. The interesting thing is, because Donald Trump is from New York City, born and raised in New York City, in the heart of liberalism, does he put New York in play? Does he put New Jersey into play? Does he at least make Hillary Clinton play defense there? Is Chris Christie almost clearly going to be his running mate? You know, so does that put like the whole tri-state area in play?
Is he really?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
That would be ridiculous.
So like,
do you remember those images of when he got off the plane or whatever with him, and he looked like he was like just beaten by the world, and they're like, oh, he's falling for it.
like, or at the very least AG, but it seems like that would make, that doesn't bring much regional balance, which is politically unastute, but it's Trump. He's not looking for regional balance. He's not looking for the guy in the middle of the country that like, oh, I can win Ohio by bringing, he doesn't care. So like, again, all the political shit out the window. So like, does it make her play defense in those states? Does she have to spend money and resources in those states? Does she have to spend time in those states? Does that let Trump then go into Missouri and go into all these states that he's gonna have to contest and like and do better? There's gonna be so much gamesmanship, and this is why I think Tim would love politics way more than he thinks he does, because this is when shit gets fucking insane.
I get it, man. I totally get it. And honestly, I think that it's a foregone conclusion that Trump wins. I think that it really does require a miracle. Honestly, it requires something to happen that I don't understand, because I don't understand this shit, but it does require some fucking little finger gaming of the shit, that behind the scene things are happening and there's scheming. Someone's scheming. What the fuck is Bernie doing? I don't know what the fuck Bernie's doing, but he's there, you know? And that at least gives me hope that something's happening, because I'm not confident that Hillary can take it from Trump. I think Trump has the momentum that is going to carry him, and I do think that he has this. That's fucking not good. We need to fix this shit. Fucking vote. Do something. I don't know. But I do think that I think that it's his.
Momentum is
it's
everything.
His game to lose.
Momentum is everything. There's something called Big Mo. This comes from
the drum at the University of Missouri. They used to wiggle around.
Exactly right. It comes from, I think, the Bush-Reagan race in 1980. All about momentum when Bush won New Hampshire, something like that, and like they and journalists started calling Big Mo. It's actually in that show, The Circus, that I recommended on Colin and Greg Live yesterday. People should definitely watch that show. It's on Showtime. It's fucking awesome. And one of the episodes I think is called Big Mo or Big Momentum. Momentum is everything, and I do think that Trump is way more formidable than people think. And this is what I'm saying about, the echo chamber where it seems like everyone loves Bernie Sanders, but why is Bernie Sanders losing? And it's the same thing where I'm like, it seems like everyone hates Donald Trump, but why is Donald Trump winning?
Yeah.
And so like we have to kind of like look at those kinds of things.
So my statement on that is, and again, I'm from San Francisco, born and raised, so I have a very different perspective than the majority of people probably. But I will never forget hearing that people were voting for Bush. I was like, what the fuck? Really? That doesn't make sense to me. Everyone is about anyone else but Bush. And then lo and behold, it happened twice. And I could not comprehend that. I didn't know a single fucking person that voted for him. I didn't know anybody that would even think about it because that's just ridiculous. And it's the same thing here where it's like, fuck, man, I have no sense of what the hell's going on with all of this because my life, what I know, that doesn't make any sense at all. With Obama, I could not believe it was as close as it was. I could not believe it because the idea of voting for anyone but Obama was like, what the fuck? Obama's the goddamn hero. Obama's the good guy. Why would you? It's really good guy, bad guy. And I was shocked that it was as close as it was. I remember being in Berkeley and we were there for a concert and there was like, it was when the California elections were the results or whatever. And there's this big screen and like all the Berkeley kids were there watching it. And it was so much closer than I could have ever imagined. And like, that's the thing where I'm like, I don't understand this. I will never understand this because that doesn't make sense. And that's why with this whole thing is it's like, it really doesn't matter to me what I think and what I'm seeing because I understand that it's totally out of my hands and it's out of my world entirely. But anything could happen.
Well, so here's the perfect outcome. I'm sorry, you were going to say something?
No, I was just saying anything could happen.
Here's the perfect outcome. And this is what I want to happen because this is, you were talking about like crazy Game of Thrones kind of shit. This is the inside play that some people are playing for now. And I think I was talking about this to you guys before. I don't know if you heard, I was talking to Greg about it. There's a huge contingent of Republicans and conservatives that will not vote for Trump, a pretty substantial one. It means the only way Trump wins is either to get those people to vote for him, which they might, or to give them another candidate. And then Trump picks off a bunch of Democrats. And so there's a guy named Ben Sasse who's in his 30s, who's a senator from Nebraska, who people are kind of trying to get in and being like, you want to run independent? You want to run as like a constitutionalist or whatever? They went and talked to Mitt Romney a few days ago to see if he wants to get in.
Come on, Mitt.
So the idea here is a very 1912 style or 1992 style election, but even to the upteenth degree, where you have someone that wins states. Like someone that like Trump wins X, Y, and Z, Hillary Clinton wins A, B, and C, and then there's this other third party that's picking off random states, and no one reaches 270 electoral votes, which is what you need to be president, and then the House of Representatives picks the president, which is something that's never happened before in the United States history because everyone always reaches the threshold of 270 or whatever it was before, when there were fewer states. And so this 270 electoral vote thing is like what some conservative pundits are trying to say, like, if we can just stop Hillary Clinton from getting there, the Republican House of Representatives will pick a Republican as president, which will probably be like Mitt Romney or Ben Sasse or something like that. And then we don't have to deal with this at all. And Trump loses and Clinton loses. And
That'd be amazing.
And so like, that's the incredible gamesmanship that's going on right now is to try to get someone on the ballot, and they have to do it soon. Because they're going to have a lot of money behind them and all that kind of stuff, but they have to start getting on the ballots. And there are rules and regulations to getting on the ballots and lots of money that needs to go into getting all, because the Democratic and Republican parties pay for that shit and are way ahead of the game on all that kind of stuff. But when you have to do it by yourself, it's a whole different story. And that's why billionaires are typically the ones like Ross Perot that do it because they can pay for all these people to do it. So that's the inside track. And I think, Bill Kristol, who's a famous writer, a political writer, was saying that it's like an inside straight, like a straight draw. Like it's almost definitely not going to happen, but that's kind of the play. It's like if they can just stop everyone from getting from 270 electoral votes, then the House of Representatives, which is Republican, even if they're lame duck, will pick a Republican. And so that's the inside game. But I think the way it plays out, I think Trump loses. I think Clinton wins. And I think that Trump loses by way fewer votes than people think. I think it's going to be I think in the electoral vote, I think it'll be within 3%. And I think he'll lose by only about 30 electoral votes. And there'll be like and I think it will be unlike the 2008 election where everyone knew McCain was going to lose. I think it's going, and people thought Romney was going to lose, but people weren't quite sure. People knew McCain was going to lose. I think it's going to be even closer than that. I think that like people are going to be like, I don't know, like it's going to be on Florida and Ohio and like, I think it's going to be really close. And
Exciting.
I think some weird states flip. You could see New Jersey flipping. You could see like, a red state like, Georgia flipping. Mm-hmm. Like it's a totally whacked out kind of thing. But I want to see where you guys stood right now because my message to everyone right now is you are taking this man lightly at your own peril. Mm-hmm. And if you do not believe it, fucking believe it. He has schooled everyone. All these people with hundreds of millions of dollars. Everyone was against him. No one supported him. All these very seasoned operatives working for all these other people that worked on winning campaigns. He fucking destroyed them. And if you think that he can't do the same to Hillary Clinton, you are delusional. That's all I'm going to say. Like Hillary Clinton has, and that show The Circus, the guys go out to dinner with some of the higher ups in the Clinton's campaign, and they look worried. You know, like they're all eating dinner in New York City and Brooklyn because that's where she's located or whatever. And they like kind of don't look joyous.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, one guy says like really seriously is like, it's not a game. Like, and like, we need to make sure people know it's not a game, but like they're losing, you know, like they are losing the game. Yeah. And as long as people keep thinking that it's like a reality show and Trump plays by different rules. If I'm telling you right now, 25 things Trump said would have eliminated him if he was a normal Republican. And not only the Mexican thing, the Muslim ban thing, which is not only offensive and wrong, but also unconstitutional. It doesn't matter what he says. Like, people need to understand that every offensive thing he says, he gets more and more votes because people are just like, this guy doesn't give a fuck. And I'm telling you, that's appealing to people. And I want someone like Trump. I wish I could like Trump. I just can't. And that's what I tweeted out. I'm like,
the problem.
I'm like, in good conscience, I can't support this man. But if I could go through his whole history of the things he said and just remove like 10 or 15 things that he said and did, he would be
Different
fine.
Story.
And I'll tell you right now, he would destroy Clinton. Like, what I keep saying is if we need someone like Donald Trump, but not Donald Trump, we need an outsider that can self-fund his campaign. And if Trump he was brash and he said what he needed to say, maybe brash like me, but not brash like Donald Trump. If you just said what you meant and didn't really alienate people, it wouldn't even be close. He would destroy Hillary Clinton. And we all fucking know it, you know? And so I think this is going to be a fascinating election. I want everyone, regardless if you want to vote for Trump, we have Trump supporters out there. Go vote for Trump, vote for everyone, but get involved. This is going to be an historic election. We are going to talk about this election for a very, very long time. And I agree with you that this, no matter who wins or loses, this changes everything for American politics. It's going to be hard for normal people that want to run. The reason Trump can run is because he has billions of dollars. He doesn't have to go to anyone's money to go get anyone's money, but you're going to see more and more of this. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, because look at Washington now. They fucking suck. These are all of the career politicians, people that have been there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They suck. Mm-hmm. And they haven't done anything. They are corrupt and they are inept. And there's no reason why we should keep them there.
Right.
It's just, there's no reason why this might be the man that we should replace them with.
Yeah.
So I just
exactly.
so I can see it both ways, you know? So I want to see what you guys think, but you know, if you're scared of Trump, you should be, because it's going to be way closer than you think it is. And as always, the closer you get to election, the closer the polls tighten. And as people were saying on Morning Joe and some of these other Sunday shows, I wouldn't be surprised if they flip.